In this tutorial, we're going to go through how to set up a free Linux box running Kali in AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, for free. Okay, so what we're going to do first is sign up for the free AWS account. So we search for AWS Free, and we first need to create an AWS account. So this is run by Amazon. Amazon's one of their biggest businesses beyond selling books is actually hosting computing in the cloud, which is servers and, for us, desktops. So we're going to create a free account. Now, you will need a phone number and a credit card for this. We can provide you a credit card number, not with anything on it, but you will need a mobile phone. So if you don't have one, you will need to get one from your parents, and they may need to sign up. So we're just going to sign up for this. Use your school account. Only can use your home account, but that's up to you. You do need to access this email account to get the verification code. And there is the verification code. Copy that. Okay, so this password is important. This is your root password, so make sure it is worthwhile. Have I hit the... Nope. There we go. So uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and non-alphanumeric. Okay, numbers and letters. Hopefully we got it. Save that password. Okay, so personal projects. Can be for school. Yeah, let's go personal for now. And this is where you need your phone number. Australia is 61. I'm just going to pause it here. You do need to fill all this out. You don't have to be completely honest with your address, so you don't need to give that over, but you do need to give a real phone number. Just know that. So the next stage is the billing information. So this is where you need the credit card number. If you do this at home, you will need to use someone's number, and you can use your own. I'm not going to suggest you do. It is free for the first year, but there is always a possibility of getting billed. So just be aware of that. If you use the wrong service, you use a paid for service, you could end up paying for it. So just be careful here. Okay, so once you've filled in your credit card details, it will ask you to confirm your identity. So this is why you needed to have put a real phone number in here. So I'm just going to run this through my phone number, and I'll be back with you in a sec. Okay, so you should get a text message, or if you chose phone call, you can do that as well. So I'm just putting in my verification code. All right, so what we're signing up for is the basic free account. Okay, so do not sign up for any of the business or developer accounts. We complete the sign up. Okay, so then we're going to go to the AWS Management Console. So you would have received some emails to confirm your sign up. Just be aware of that. And you do need to log in. So we are going to sign in to our Management Console. Okay, so that's the sign up part. Now we need to create our virtual computer in the cloud. All right, so what we need to do is we need to go to the EC2. Okay, so EC2 is where we're going to host our Kali Linux install. And the first thing we're going to do is go to instances. So we're going to create an instance. Okay, so I'll just get rid of these. We're done. Yep, done. Okay. Now, it may or may not have put you in the most local area. So if you see at the top of the screen here, it says Sydney. And what you can see here is a list of different places around the world. This matters because you want to be closest to your virtual computer as possible because you're going to have better access. So if it hasn't already put you in a local area, you need to either choose Sydney or Singapore, okay? Because that's where your computer is going to be hosted. You do not want it in America because it's going to be ever so slightly slower, or on bad days really slow to access it. Okay, so make sure it's either Sydney or Singapore. Okay, and we're going to click Launch Instances, and this is where we create our computer. So we're creating a virtual computer in the cloud. We're going to call it. I'm going to call mine Carly, and we need an operating system image, and Amazon have tons and tons of different ones. They have Windows, they have Ubuntu, Mac OS X, but we actually want Kali. So we're just going to search for the word Kali, and we're going with the AWS Marketplace um, um, uh, images. That's the word I'm looking for. And the very first thing shows up is the Kali Linux. So we select that. And if we scroll down the page, we're going to subscribe to that. This one's free. Note there are some paid for ones and some other ones in community, but we're just going to go with that. Okay, so we've chosen our image. And if we scroll down, we need to look at this instance type. Do not skip this. This is incredibly important because not all of the instant types are free. There's only one that is free, and that's the T2 Micro. Make sure you get the free tier eligible. Do not choose any of the others, otherwise the credit card you put in will be charged for. Do not choose anything except Micro, and it will not automatically choose Micro. You must choose it yourself. All right, next up is key pair. So when we log into our virtual computer, we're not going to use a password. We're going to use a key pair login, and you're going to find out about that as we go through the course. But for now, you just need to know that you're going to create one. So we're going to create a new key pair. I'm going to call this Kali key. Can't spell. Kali key for me, and it's going to be a PEM. Okay, create key pair. So this will create a key pair and it will download it automatically, okay? I actually had another one there already. So I'm going to get that one, then I keep scrolling down. Leave the network stuff alone, that's absolutely fine. Configure storage, we actually need more than 12 gigabytes. We are going to need 30. So make sure you add extra, otherwise not everything will fit. And that is all we need to do. So we're going to launch the instance. So this is basically creating our virtual computer in the cloud right now. And hopefully it should be booting it up as it's creating. Yes, it's launching the instance right now. So we've configured it, and now it's launching a virtual computer in the cloud. So we're just going to wait for that. First time to do, it may take a little while. I'm going to pause that while it's thinking. All right, so that's still thinking. In the meantime, we're going to get on with some other stuff. Oh, there we go. It's starting now. We need to install some software on our Chromebook. So we're going to open up our Play Store. And we are going to search for a couple of apps. We need a console ConnectBot. So we're going to search for ConnectBot, and that should be available to you. We're going to install that. This is going to allow us to communicate to our virtual computer in the cloud using command line interfaces. Okay, it's using SSH to connect. We also need our the real VNC viewer. So this is our virtual network computer interface where we get into it virtually. If it doesn't show up here, you just search for real, or actually VNC, and it's the real VNC that's the one you need. So we're going to install that as well. Okay, so success. We're going to click on our number here, the launch of our computer, and we're just going to have a quick look to see what's going on. And we can see that this Kali instance is running, and we're going to click into the instance ID because we need something from here. We need to be able to connect to it, and we need an IP address to connect to it. So this is our unique ID on the whole of the internet. This is our unique IP address to connect to it. So we're going to click on this button to copy that IP address because we need that. And what we're going to do is we're going to launch the Connect bot because we're now going to communicate using command line interface to our virtual computer. So we're going to click on Connect bot and then click on the plus symbol, and we need to connect to it. The username for your instance is Kali, and then it's the IP address that we just copied from the AWS console. So we just keep scrolling down. So we use a public key authentication. We are definitely going to use that, but we need to add it. So we need to click on the plus sign up here. I lied. We need to click on the three dots here, and we need to manage our public keys. So we click on manage public keys. We're going to load our public key, and you are selecting from your downloads the key you just downloaded. I know this one is one, I actually had one already here. This is the one I just downloaded today, just then. That's our public key loaded and available to us. So I'm going to go back to this, right click on this, and I'm going to edit this host. Should have done that to the start. I'm now going to use public key authentication, and that's the Kali key that I just downloaded. That's how we're going to authenticate with our computer. And we're going to use the SSH auth agent to log in, and we're going to start a shell session, and we are saving that. We're not yet finished. We're going to right click on this and we're going to add a port forward, because once we've configured our computer through the CLI, and we'll go through what that means in a minute, we're going to then connect to it using the graphical user interface, and this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to, on the port forward, you're going to hit the plus key, and our source port for a VNC is, or the one we're going to use is 5901, and the destination is localhost colon 5901. So this is basically going to connect through a port, and it's going to make the computer available on our Chromebook using something called localhost, which is basically the default home for our computer. That will make more sense in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to double click on this, and it's going to connect. It's going to ask us, are you sure we want to connect? I'm very sure I want to connect. And so basically use that public key and that username that we typed in, Kali at the IP address connection, and it's just basically just logged into our Kali, and we are talking to our virtual computer in the cloud that's actually sitting in Sydney right now. All right, so what we want to do now is we want to install some software, because the Kali box just has basically very little on there. So what we need to do some updates and install some software. So the first thing is we're going to sudo superuser do. We'll talk more about that soon. And we're going to update this. And it's going through. Some of this will take a little while. We'll pause the most slow bits. So we're just updating the operating system right now. That's all this is doing. And this is in the cloud, updating it in the computer that's sitting over in Sydney right now. Okay, that's installed the updates. Now we're going to install a graphical user interface to the Kali box, and we're also going to install a VNC server, which allows us to remote into the virtual box, the virtual computer, into the graphical user interface, because we don't want to do everything through the command line interface. We're going to do a lot through the command line interface throughout this course, but we still need a graphical user interface as well. So we're going to install XFCE4. You can install some extra bits with that called XFCE goodies, and then the server that's going to allow us the graphical user interface to. So the XFCE is the graphical user interface. The Type VNC server is the way we get into that virtually. So that's installing that. Do we want to continue? Yes, we do. I'm going to pause this while it. I'll pause this and I'll start it when I need to. Okay, so it's asking us keyboard layout. The keyboard layout is English US. We are not in UK. Don't think that your keyboard that you're looking at right now is a UK keyboard. It is not. It is nearly always a US keyboard in nearly every single computer you buy. Okay, so you can see it's installing quite a lot. Depending on how fast everything's running, this will take a while or not very long. I'm going to pause the video again. Okay, so that's finished, and we're now going to install some other applications. So sudo apt-get, and we're going to install gnome-core. This is just some general applications that are handy to have, and then Kali defaults, and then Kali-root-login, and then desktop base. Okay, so we've got sudo apt-get install gnome-core, Kali-defaults, Kali-root-login, and then desktop base. There we go. Don't miss that. And done. Unable to locate package Kali default. So if you type something in wrong, I'm guessing it's Kali default. Nope. I'm just going to get rid of that. Look that up while that's installing. And we do want to continue. Okay, it asks us some configuration on one of the packages. We're just going to go with the light, not the GDM3. As you're watching these install, you'll notice a few names pop up, things like Firefox and Python. These are the kind of general applications that are now installing in the background. And they're just going to be useful to us to do things while we're learning. We'll be certainly installing other things along the way and some different versions. So, for example, Python, I believe we're going to be using Python 2.7, but also Python version 3 as well. So there's a number of different things we're going to be doing, but this is kind of installing the bulk of what we need. So yeah, as it's going through, just kind of keep an eye on some of the names of what it's installing, see if you notice some things you recognize. Okay, so that's finished installing. And now we're going to fire up the VNC server so we can now connect to it virtually with the graphical user interface. So we are going to go tight VNC server. That's what we installed. Now we're going to actually open it. And then we're going to go dash geometry, and this is setting the screen size. And now your computer, your Chromebook is 1366 by 768, but if you're on a different computer, you've got a different size screen, you can do that. Basically, you're setting the size of the screen. Asks you for a password, keep it simple, and only 8 characters, by the way. Yep. Okay, so that's now started the the VNC server. So now we need to open the real VNC. And yep. Okay, so we're now going to connect. So we're going to click the plus icon, and the address that's the IP address. Now, if you've forgotten, it is sitting here. You can copy it again, and that's it. Connect. I'm lying. Of course, it's not that. Apologies. Let's get rid of this. Let's do it properly. We click the plus. Originally, what we did, we set up the pathway, the port forward that we're going to use, and that was localhost : 5901. Sorry, that's what we set up at the start. If you remember in the connect bot, we had a port forward. Now we're going to connect. Okay, unencrypted. Yeah, we're okay with that for now. And password, this is what you just typed into the command line. And now here we are. Yep, this is just telling you how the VNC works. Touchscreen, so you can zoom in and out. Okay, so we can move things around. Pin that. Skip tutorial. Okay, so we're now in Kali Linux. This is our desktop, and you are now using a virtual computer in the cloud. And to close it, just close that down, and we're done. One thing to remember, at the end of every session, you need to stop the instance. Okay, so you really do not want to leave your virtual machine running in the cloud, because there's only a certain amount of hours each month you get for free, and after that they will charge you for it. So you must click on the instance state and you must stop the instance. Don't terminate it, because that actually wipes the whole thing. You want to stop the instance. You don't have to do the whole shutdown of Linux. That's not necessary. You literally just this is you pressing the power button on this virtual machine in the cloud, and it just shuts it down. And if we go to our instance now, the instance is still there. Our Kali instance is still there, but it is stopping. And in a minute, that will actually stop, and it's now stopped. It's a computer that's turned off, and that's really important. You turn it off, otherwise you will get charged for it at a certain point. Just a note, a reminder, if this does not say T2-micro, you will be charged for it every time you run it, so make sure that says micro. Okay, that's it.